Don't do that. All right, so we were just finishing up the edit on the next video for the 356 that you're about to see, and it dawned on me that we should probably talk about why we're so enthusiastic about this car. And that's for Teresa to tell us.
I love little roadsters. I love little convertibles. And this has been a little bit of a journey for us because for the last 3 years we've been looking for a 356 or a 911.
So we've had a couple Porsches, but nothing in the real collectible world. We had resigned ourselves to the fact that if we were going to have a Speedster, it would be a fiberglass replica powered by a Volkswagen. And I thought that was fine. I thought that was going to be a lot of fun. They're really summer cars, and you don't get to use them much. We lucked into this car. It was a little rougher than we expected, which is fine. They're typically rusty, and this one, the rust had been repaired. It just didn't come with any parts. So really what we got is a shell. So we've been on the journey of finding parts for it.
Yeah.
And we're doing pretty good there.
And, can I say this on camera?
Sure.
We found this company in Canada, in Ontario, called Restoration Design, and they have Porsche parts.
And our Canadianism is pretty strong there. We're like, what, really? You guys actually stamp sheet metal in Canada for a car that's world renowned and getting fixed all over the world. So we thought that was really cool. They're going to give us a little bit of help. They're excited to be a part of this project, which is fun for us. We just really want and hope that we're inspiring you guys to do a little bit of work at home. Cars are about the adventure. Sometimes it's the adventure of building them. Sometimes it's the adventure of driving them. Sometimes the adventure is you're stuck on the side of the road and nothing's going your way. We've kind of done it all.
We've done that a few times. I mean, we did that with the 968, actually.
Yeah.
In New Orleans on New Year's Eve.
It became a push-start car, not a starter car. We got to tell you guys, we really appreciate the comments and your support for the channel. It's a lot of work. I know sometimes it just looks like we're gluing stuff together and we're pretty helter-skelter. You've been patient with us. You see we got new mics finally. You've been asking for those. Yeah. You'll see some videos without them because they were filmed, a month ago, 2 months ago. We have a lot of projects on the go, and because this takes away from my time at the shop,
and my time at the shop.
Yeah, Teresa does all the books at the shop. She does all the marketing stuff. She's now videographer, editor of the YouTube channel. We're both very busy, so we try to make sure that on weekends we're giving you what our personal projects are rather than the run-of-the-mill stuff that's going through the shop, although we're going to show you that too. So some of you have been asking, and the reason actually we didn't call the channel JF Customs is because we wanted it to be more than what happens just at the shop. It's really about the adventures that Teresa and I are on, all our goofy car stuff, whether it's an adventure to go pick up a car, which, by the way, there's more of those coming. We went and got 9 Datsuns, so keep an eye out to see what we found for Datsuns in an old muddy field. But basically, it's more about how can we support the industry, how can we get people involved in cars and realize how much fun cars can be in all aspects, whether you're purchasing one to enjoy it, whether you're restoring one. We just want to make sure that you guys are enthusiastic about cars just like we are.
Yeah. Our channel is realistically all about what the automotive industry really is. And it's sometimes working paycheck to paycheck, sometimes stealing from our savings to pay our staff. Sometimes
we don't have savings. We just use a credit card to pay the staff because
yeah.
We invested too much in a personal car, but that's okay.
It's part of...
Everybody's got to make some sacrifices for the pleasure that the cars are.
Yeah.
And we're really thankful that you guys are sharing in this journey with us. That's why it's called Killer Kustoms, not JF Customs, because it's about more than just what happens at the shop.
And if you went to school in the 80s and the 90s, that was the word of the day. We all said killer. Oh, that's killer. So that's kind of... It's a good word.
Look at us go. So for everybody that says a car looks killer at a car show, we're riding the coattails of that.
Yeah, and if you wouldn't mind giving us some comments, some feedback on what you would like to see more of, we'd be happy to start giving you the content that you want to watch.
But we do promise you a mix because our life isn't just one thing. Our life is anything from buying a quick flip, buying a car collection,
to flipping a side-by-side.
To flipping side-by-sides.
Literally.
To racing cars, because we do a lot of that. to hands-on working on our projects, to the beautiful cars that get built at JF Customs. In fact, you're going to see us at Detroit this year with one of the most amazing cars we've ever built. We're super excited to reveal that car to the public, but not for another 4 weeks. So look for that on the internet, on our websites, and actually on this channel, because we've started filming a few little tidbits of it that nobody else will get to see. So you're going to have to watch this channel to get to see how beautiful that car is on the bottom, what the story behind it is, and how it came to be.
Lots of stuff coming up for the new year. It's going to be great.
So that said, enjoy this episode. Let us know what you think, and you can anticipate a few more picking up cars in dirty old fields and garages and barn finds and all things automotive.
And I'm always, I get phone calls all the time about, hey, I got a car here and I got a car there. So if you've got something that you're interested in us buying, send us the information or just put a little message or a comment, and we're happy to maybe come and see you.
Except I'm super cheap when it comes to buying old cars, so make sure there's a deal involved. I am not buying your car for retail pricing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, enjoy this episode.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Hey YouTubers, I hope you're having fun today, and we're back on this thing. Let's have a little look. I'll show you what I'm struggling with, and we're going to bring the camera right down here. So of course, if you don't have the Cowl's notes, you see that big space there? And it gets worse all the way down here. Now, not only should that not be flat, but it should have a curve, just like this. You see how this works? So all the way through the panel, it should be curved, right? High in the center, low on the outside. So this one's the opposite. It needs a whole bunch of shape in here. As you know, we bought this car fairly inexpensive. We were happy to get it. The cost of that is that I've got to work to make sure that the car is good and repair some of these things. So they've already welded in a panel. Last night I stayed really late, got the other side done, so I thought it was an interesting process. I'll work you through it, and I'll show you how I'm going to actually save this panel rather than cutting it off, English wheeling a new one, and moving forward. So we're just going to move forward with what's here. It's an interesting process, so I think you'll like it. We'll get set up here. Okay, one of the first things I'm going to do is identify the problem and mark it. I feel as though this shape is really good. This panel is exceptional, really well built. And we know all the way along this weld is low. So on the low, I'm going to circle it. Yeah. Yeah, it even travels into this panel. Unfortunately, when you're welding, the heat of the weld can transfer into the panel adjacent to it. That's part of what went wrong here. A lot of it is that this panel had not a lot of shape. And I suspect that this weld was just done by guess, and so they didn't put enough profile in. So this panel is essentially too short from here to here. And to make it longer, if we stretch the metal, which will make it thinner, that's what we're going to do. And that's what really an English wheel does. When you're running it through the wheel, it stretches the metal, it makes it thinner, which allows it to take up more space, and it gives it a curve. We're going to do that with a Hammer-Dolly the very old-fashioned way. Cover your ears. Okay, so quick lesson on Hammer-Dolly. If you hold the dolly away from the metal, you're going to end up stretching it. Yes. Well, hammer off actually shrinks it. It's more complicated than that. I usually bang things around and see where they go. Probably what I'm going to do here. I know that if I hold the dolly hard against it and keep bashing it, the metal will get thinner and I'll be stretching that whole area. Technique here, I'm going to put the dolly on the curved surface because we want a curve, and I'm going to push this panel out. You'll notice me really pushing it out. So there, I'm going to hold it out like that. Still not happy. Need to get this area to come out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the dolly here to hold the panel steady, and I'm literally going to beat some shape into here. Usually that starts out pretty ugly, so we'll go back to hammer and dolly and making it smooth, but I'm literally going to pull the panel out by smashing on it. Because I'm holding it here, it has no choice but to start to get big right here. Alright, so you can feel a lot of shape here. There's one problem down here that's it's under a lot of tension, and I believe what happens there is this weld that they did, basically this shape down here is curved like this. And because the panel goes this direction and then back up, there's no way to get it to curve like this. Two pieces of metal bent in a 90 like that are going to hold it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to release this by just cutting it off right here, about the first inch of it, and it'll allow me to take this panel and bend it. So if you can feature the bend at the back is too tight, if I release it by putting a cut in it, I can actually get them closer together, which will allow this panel to come around. There's some shape being created here. Okay, I've cut that loose. Before I go any further, I'll show you guys where we're at and how the shape's coming together. So if you look down here, that's what I'm struggling with. The lighting's not great. You should be able to see it right there. See that big space where my thumb is? That's totally the wrong way. I'll show you right here. Do you see that? Curved surface. This one's now flat, which is not curved. Then back up to the upper part of the quarter panel where it's curved. So we got a little bit of work to do on that area to make it round. This area is really starting to come together. Right, that's looking pretty good. And down here, yeah, I got a big old hole right there. So now that I've cut the lower edge off, we're going to try to move that around. There's a spot right here that is way too fat, and I want to shrink it down. So I'm going to do one quick shrink. I don't love promoting shrinking with a torch, only because you can make a big mess of something really, really fast. I've got some experience with it. I wouldn't say I'm an expert because I haven't been a coach builder all my life, but I got a spot here that changes the profile of the wheel opening. The metal's already here, and the only way to remove metal is to physically shrink it. So I could cut it open, weld it again like we did down here, but what I fear there is that I'm going to introduce some more heat and create warping. So I'm just going to try to do a quick shrink. We could get into the details of it, but that'd take a whole hour, maybe even multiple hours. All I know is I heat the panel. This is a nice small tip, so I know I'm going to make small changes. But I'm going to go in, I'm going to heat the panel, I'm going to see a rosebud kind of lift, maybe a dime size heat spot. Coming in, dime size, cool it off. I feel that's done a really good job, so I'm going to do one more and I'll probably quit there. Yeah, maybe one last one. So I've removed some of the metal there, or brought it back together. I'll do some more hammering and see how close I am here. The profile looks a lot better. Trying to lift this little area, so I'm holding the dolly here and I'm hitting from the backside right along that weld, so I can get it to have a bit of a crown here. Funny, even the bend on it is going the wrong direction. You could see it go like this. So I'm gonna have to change the bend at the base of this. This style of pliers is really good for creating bends. I'm gonna start by opening it up. And then I'm gonna move a little bit higher. A little more purpose. Bend it back. There we go. That's got it. Nice little shape we're after there. Just a little flat through the middle. So we're really getting close. I think I'm going to try to push this out just a little more. It was down probably 1/4 of an inch. Now it's perfectly flat, and of course we want it round. So I'm going to push this out just a little bit. The way I'm going to do that again is I'm going to try to hold the panel. It's got a lot of shape here, so it's strong. Lots of shape here, so it's strong. It's very weak here until we put a rolled lip on it. So I'm going to hold the dolly here and try to push this out just a little bit more. Get caught up. I'll show you what I'm kind of doing there. I know this is the spot I want to bring up, so I'll tap here a couple times, and then I'll pull the area around it. And I'll tap here a couple times, then I'll try to pull the area around it. That's what I'm doing from the back side. Right now I've hit this a bunch too much, so I'm probably going to hold my dolly here and try to lift these two areas. Little low here, and just a little bit high here still. So I'm going to hold the dolly here and push that out. Hope that's making sense. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Sometimes you got to take big, long strokes to make sure the overall shape is good. We're down to one spot right here. There. Now that I've lifted it, it's a little lumpy from all the hammer marks. I'm going to go back to the curved side of the dolly and do it from the other side and just kind of clean that up a little bit. Sure is looking good. So I'm at the point where there's good shape in here, and without this being sort of held together better, I don't think I can finish up. So I'm going to put an edge on here, a little rolled lip. I'm going to weld this space that we cut apart earlier, and then I can actually create some strength here that'll help hold the bottom of the panel. We can create some strength here that'll hold the front of the panel. And then we'll get the final push put into here. We're getting close. I used just a little bit of 1/8 inch TIG welding rod, and I took this shape from the other side. Nice thing about this car is you actually have to input this into the quarter panel, because that's what gives the lip its round shape. So not only do I get to copy it from the other side, but I can also place it into the panel and then wrap the metal around it and finish up the job. Okay. Good. Okay. So, got some welding to do. hopefully you can see. The rod is now the shape. See how far off it is down here? That means we'll have a lot of metalworking to do down there. But that's the overall shape that we're looking for. So that gives us a guide. So what I'll do is I'll hold the dolly on the other side of this and try to fold this metal over. Watch this. Unfortunately for myself, and maybe a lot of you, I am not ambidextrous. So I gotta contort myself in different ways to get the job done. Yes. Yes. So now that I've folded it 90, I'm going to try to hold this in here. Whew. It's coming along really nice. I've got an abundance of metal down at the bottom. I'm going to cut some of that off. So a couple things I'm going to do here just to get cleaned up a little bit. There's some welds protruding from before. There's some goobery welds I just did. I'm just going to clean those up so I can get a really good feel for the panel. So another thing I'm going to do is actually grind this whole surface, because when you pound the shit out of this, you end up hardening the metal. And if you simply grind the surface, you're basically annealing it. You're getting rid of the hardened metal on the top, and it allows you to work with softer metal again. So a lot of times halfway through your process, it's a good idea to just give her a little scratch here. So the heat of your welding, the heat of your hammer and dolly, all of that hardens the surface. So I've just annealed it a little bit here, and that should give me a soft surface to finish up our work. The overall shape is great. I'll get the camera and show you guys where we're at before we... There we go. So, if you look from the side profile, the arc of the wheel well is perfect. If you look from the bottom, the lead in from the quarter panel here into the new panel is also good. Not bad for saving a panel that shouldn't have otherwise been used. And then from the inside, you can see the transition from, go like this. Let's have trouble focusing. From the inside, you can see the transition from the old to the new. Looks good. The overall shape is actually perfect. So we're in good hands here. You can see I want to do a little more weld right there. That's about it. All right, now that we're getting close to the end of it, hopefully we've only got another hour or so of fooling around with it. I'm going to show you guys what we typically do on metalwork like this when we're buttoning it up and trying to get very finite with the details. Normally we would use a product that is a kind of a blue dye that goes on the metal. Unfortunately, it's Saturday and the guys might have hit it on me, so just a little rattle can will do the trick. Just a light mist of it will give us a guide as to where the highs and the lows are, and I'll be able to try to work the metal a little bit more. Typically you would use maybe a file to show that stuff, but because it's such a curved section, the file might only bump off the tops. I decided to use a sanding block because I can kind of curve it a bit like the section. See what that looks like. So of course, the areas that the sandpaper hits are the highs, these are the lows, and so on and so forth. That's actually not a bad mix of highs and lows. It shows that there's no really deep areas. I think this little area is a little too deep, and this one's too deep. Same with that one. I can sort of feel that they need a little more work. So I will start hammering and dollying that, and just pulling up some of those areas. So something that I'm noticing really quickly is I've still got too much metal here, and I think I want to shrink some of that away to let this be proud. So I'm going to use the torch again. Do a couple more heat sinks. All right, now torch in and then torch back out. Torch in, raise that little area. again, see I've shrunk those areas, so I'm just going to take a solid look at the overall shape of the quarter panel. And it looks good. It's coming into shape for sure. This will help, like we said before, it'll help anneal the metal, because we have worked it really hard. Might need a piece of paper that sticks. That's garbage. Foam pad fell apart. Okay, well, I'm really happy with that metalwork there. Like I said, the cars typically get skim coated about 1/8 of an inch of body filler, some primer that cleans up any of these last little bits. We're really excited next episode, if you've been following the 356 specifically. Next episode, next project is going to be to convert this car from a Cabriolet to a Speedster. Now, they didn't make a Speedster in 64, 65. So this is going to be an Outlaw car. Well, of course it was going to be, because we run a custom shop here, so we're not going to restore this car to absolute restoration specs. We're going to make a custom car out of it. So instead of having a convertible windshield, it's going to have a beautiful Speedster windshield, which is actually from the earlier cars. So we got an early Speedster cowl here. We're going to put a Speedster dash in it and Speedster windshield. So hopefully the next weekend I spend on this, that's what you guys will see. It's more metalwork. Get used to that.
Before you're done, can you say one word for me? You know what it is?
No.
Porche.
Porsche.
When I drive past you in my Porsche.
In French, Porsche.
There you go.
Porsche. Okay. Porsche.